It's a new year. We're back at it, almost. Made ourselves a list. That's a good thing to do. You know, you get going on these projects and you get things need done. You really need to have a work list and work it off. We've got a whole page full of dinky little things to do. We've got a roll of copper tubing over there, 2 rolls as a matter of fact. We've got to run the carburetor vent lines. We've got our wood trim at the back, all the holes drilled and countersunk, and we're going to go ahead and prime those and paint them and start knocking out some of these little jobs. Alright, we're continuing our work around here at the back, and we painted the wood trim that goes around the top of the tub and got it screwed into place. Now eventually that should be covered with some kind of material, but in the meantime we painted it green, so that tops off the back of the tub. The other thing we've been doing is going along the edge of the quarter panel fender and go ahead and put our nails in. We hadn't done that, so we're all the way down to the door edge, and we got to come back on this side and do the same thing. This of course is a new quarter panel over here on this side, and it just fits a little different than the other side. The other side wraps around nicely around the wood. This one over here has a little bit of a gap down here, so we've got some thin wood we're going to cut and put some strips behind that to fill that gap in, and then we've got to drill holes all along there and go ahead and put our little nails in and get that finished up. And just one more job crossed off the list. Well, I think the next thing we've got to do here is pull that dash out. It's just hung on there with a couple of screws, and see if we can make up a wire harness for the back of the dash. That's going to take some thought, but what I'd like to do is make a harness for the back of the dash that has plugs on it that I can just be able to unplug the harness and take the dash out if I have to. So we'll see what we got going on there, but I think that's the next step. We've sent the Speedo out to be repaired, and that's going to be expensive, but I didn't see any other choice really. It was really not something that I wanted to get into because I'd probably do more damage than good trying to get it to work, so better to send it to somebody that knows what they're doing. And hopefully we get back a working speedometer. I'm not worried about the thing being concours perfect. What I want is a working speedometer, and to be honest, I'd rather have the patina that's on the face and that sort of thing, because it really goes along with the rest of the project here. As I've said all along, this is supposed to be a running, driving car. Jump in it, go for a ride, take it to car show if you want, but not necessarily perfect. So anyway, everything else on the dash is there. The only thing wiring wise for the Speedo is a couple of lights, and hopefully we can sort that out while we're wiring the dash. One thing that I noticed that I did, and I'm sure it's wrong, but I put that trim around the top of the dash, and I stapled that trim to the back of the dash so that it fit nicely around the top of the dash, and then the top piece, the top of the cowl there, can't remember what they call that. Got old timers sneaking up on me, but I was hopeful that that would make it fit a little better. If I I think it's really supposed to be fastened to the panel that the dash mounts onto, that wood back support. But in my opinion, I don't know how I would have gotten it to fit exactly around the perimeter of the dash, because the two of them aren't sort of symmetrical, and you know, you tattoo it on there and then all of a sudden you got these gaps where the dash fits. So for me, for this, I know that it fits tight around the dash and it's going to go where the dash goes. So we'll see how that works out in the end. But I think that'll be the next deal here, is we'll unscrew that dash and lay it out here and see if we can work on it. All right, we got this dash laid out here on the hood of our other project. We kind of got a bunch of non-running projects in the shop right now. It's too cold to work outside, but this is what's left of the original harness that came with the car, and a lot of these old style light sockets. I can see that this particular one, there's a place here where that must have been glued, epoxied. There was another one over here above the amp gauge. I only have one of those, but somebody monkeyed up the dash and put a gypsy amp gauge in there anyway, so we'll have a separate light for that. And I'm probably going to try to put some different light sockets in there. I played around with this once upon a time and got these sockets to work, but to be honest with you, they take screw-in bulbs and it's just not worth the aggro. Just trying to sort out who goes what goes where, and one of the things that I'm stuck on right off the bat is we have these two sort of test plugs, whatever you want to call them. One's red and one's black. The black one here is insulated from the dash, so I'm going to assume that that's the negative or the hot terminal, and then the other one would be the ground. The thing that's confusing me is on the other side, the ground is red and the hot or negative is black. So, you know, if you're the modern day genius, the red post would be the hot post, not the ground. So I just need to go and look at some pictures and make sure that I have it oriented right. And then, you know, somehow, some way, some which way, we're going to have to just make sure that people know that if the red is ground, red is ground. Not red is not hot. So if they use that to test voltage or whatever. But, you know, it's like everything else. I had this sorted out once upon a time, and then I put it aside, and now I've got to re-educate myself. We have our little map lights, and there's just a little pigtail there. And I remember at the time thinking, well, that's pretty bizarre, because the light, in fact, I did it in the video, the light bolts to the wood, and there's only one wire there, so how does that work? It doesn't ground through the wood. So probably what I'm going to have to do is run a ground lead to one of these screws so that we have a circuit there. But that's really what I want to do here, is get all of the light wires grounded and everything that needs grounded, and then that would go, I think, as the common post here, whichever one of these, red, black, whatever it is. So we can get that done. And we've already got two leads off of this gypsy amp gauge. And to be honest with you, one goes to the clock, and we've sort of eliminated the clock because we didn't have one. And I'm trying to remember where the other one goes. I'm not sure we use it either, but we might. I think it powers the map lights, I guess is what it does. So we can get them hooked up. Okay, so we started with the map lights. And I guess I'm easily confused. I'm old, what can I say? But the wiring diagram that I have only shows one map and reading light. I don't know why it doesn't show two, but I have two. And I think most of them have two. So we got it, and we had the one wire coming out the back, and it was just a little stub. So what we went and did is put this connector on there on both of them. So at least now we can unplug the light and take it out if we have to putz with it or change it or whatever. So we've got both of them done now. I've got to source some bulbs. I don't think they're particularly hard bulb to find. I may even have some on the shelf, but we'll go ahead and test these lights before we get any further. Get some bulbs in there, make sure they work. But I think I'll do that tomorrow.